what's going on, how's it hanging, how's it happen? You guys know who it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. Hey everybody, it is Thursday. It is the 21st of April, and, well, this band might end up Batista bombing me in the pit. Now, I know that sounds bad, but hear me out and you'll figure out why, because, well, yeah, it's kind of a good story. So before we jump into it, I want to thank our sponsors first, Phoenix Fitness. Yes, you know, summer's coming up. I'm going to as many concerts as possible. I'm not jumping out of those pits. I'm jumping in and I'm not stopping. So in order to do that, you know, I got to make sure my fitness is on top of its potential game. So I'm always in the gym, you know, doing cardio, whatever it might be, running 10 miles, biking 25 miles, Stairmaster for like 200 flights, and then running a 5K, lifting as much as possible. But in order to make sure that I achieve those fitness goals, I have to prepare and recover right so that my body can keep going. That's where Phoenix Fitness comes in. They will help you achieve your fitness goals through preparation, recovery, all that great stuff. They made it for products such as different pre-workouts, both sim and sim-free, for you to, you know, pick and choose whatever you want to use your pre-workout. I use the sim-free stuff because I don't need all the, the stimulants, the caffeine stuff. Just doesn't work well with me. They have different BCAA recovery compounds to help you absorb the nutrients by your muscles directly after your workout. Different creatines help you build muscle. Different proteins help you build muscle. AM proteins, PM proteins, after workout proteins, collagen proteins, plant-based proteins, multivitamins, elite, anything you might need to achieve your fitness goals, Phoenix Fitness has for you. Our listeners and viewers on YouTube, we get 15% off using code MSOTD at checkout. Thank you, Phoenix Fitness. Link description of the podcast. Our second sponsor is Custom Debuts. So you guys know I love my posters up here. I mean, right now you see the 30 Seconds of Mars American flag that I made. You see the skate decks. What you don't see, though, above my desk is the sign Rise Against poster I got from the rave, the sign Falling First Ronnie Radke poster, the one I got of Rise Against from their set at Ridefest 2019, the Ice Nine Kills one, the band they tried to ban is back poster. There's a Day to Remember one in the corner right there. But you see that spot over there right next to that lamp? I mean, it's missing something. Why didn't I get a custom poster from Custom Debut so I have something all my own? And here's what they do. They take a band that you want. Say it's, let's use Rise Against. And I can pick any album or any song I want. So I can say Rise Against Suffer and the Witness, or I'll say Rise Against Prayer of the Refugee. And what they'll do is they will make a custom poster based on the information just for me. Maybe using the music video, maybe using something with the lyrics, maybe using something with the album artwork and the track listing, whatever it might be. And they'll send me a proof within 48 hours of the concept. And I can tell them what I want changed, if I don't like it, and kind of what to do with it. And once I'm satisfied with it, then it's like, we're good to go. And they will send it to me in 3 different ways. Whichever one I choose. Either they'll send it on normal poster paper, a canvas print, or as an aluminum freaking sign. You can have the coolest poster in your basement, in your neighborhood, in your house, in your garage, in your dorm room, in your office, anywhere you might need it. That's where Custom Debuts comes in, makes, you know, the music lover in you happy, and everyone else, well, wanting a custom poster of their own. Our listeners and viewers on YouTube get 10% using the code CPP10 at checkout. Our Custom Debuts website. Thank you, Custom Debuts. Now in our future presentation. So why did I talk about Gabe Batista bombing the pit? Well, because I'm talking to Saliva today. That's what. Bobby from Saliva is here on the podcast to talk about the band releasing their first music in 4 years, how much they have in the backlog. We talk about, you know, what they have coming up for the rest of the year. We talk about their set upcoming in 2022 in Blue Ridge with original singer Josey Scott performing with them as well, what that might look like. We also dive deep into the idea of Revelation Man and really the, what's the perfect way? The motivation behind the song, the meaning behind the song, the everything behind the song, just everything around there. And then we dive deeper into the concept. We talk about a little bit how the storytelling mode is done through the intro instrumentals and the chorus vocals. And then just, well, I make a promise to get Batista bombed in the pit. Yep. So if there's any big dude in the pit at Saliva show, don't hurt me too bad. But enough of that. Are you guys ready to hear the podcast and the interview with Bobby from Saliva? Because I am. Let's go! Yeah! Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast, if you were a WWE fan during the Ruthless Aggression era, so let's just say like 2004, 2008, this is a band that you will definitely know, and I got a chance to potentially even like, oh, I must take this. They have a brand new song called Revelation Man, which is out right now, first release in 4 years from the band, and we can expect a lot more from him in 2022, so enough with me giving the intro. Let's welcome Bobby from the band Saliva to the podcast. So Bobby, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Thanks for having me, man.
Man, thanks for being on. And I mean, 4 years of not releasing new music, and all of a sudden we got, you know, new music coming from you guys. Like, I was like, ooh, yay!
Yeah, it's been a minute, and I'm actually we're we're not really sure why we weren't putting out music, like especially with the formats today, with that the platforms that you have with like Spotify and stuff. Bands are putting out singles all the time, and I think we're like late to that, So we have a lot of songs in the vault, and we just like some of the songs on this new record were recorded 2 years ago, and we're like, man, we could have like put that song out last year. But I think now's as good a time as never. So we're stoked about the new record, and stoked to be releasing music. We hope that we can release more and more now. Dropping.
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of one way to look at it too is if you guys have been recording so much stuff, and of course with the pandemic and everything that had happened, it's even though you guys weren't releasing new music, it might have potentially been something where kind of in the back of your heads, wait for a time where all of a sudden you have a lot that you can release so that when you are releasing on all these different platforms, all different streaming platforms, seeing what can happen in connection with, stuff that's going on TikTok, maybe get another song up that's another WWE entrance song or the official song of one of their pay-per-view events. Because I know Ladies and Gentlemen was one of those back in the day. Because that's how, where my mind is going. Yeah. With all those songs that you have there and the continual release them that you are able to, potentially do right now, that just keeps the name in the algorithm, that keeps the band, the algorithms, keeps the name in the zeitgeist of pop culture and with rock and metal fans as well. So you're constantly giving people new stuff with everything that you have in there. So maybe waiting might have been the best way to go about it.
Yeah, we did do a lot of recordings during that time. So, we have material for 2 records. We have, a covers record we did. There's a bunch of stuff that we were able to do. So we used our time wisely for that. We just, it's all stuff that no one's heard. So it's just basically, now what do we do, So just try to pick and choose what makes the most sense. And we know we need to put a new record out and go support that and target radio and just see what happens. Maybe Revelation could be, that could be a theme song for somebody,
Oh, it very well could be, especially given its sound, given its meaning, given everything about it. And we can jump into that just in a little bit. But one thing I do want to pick on a little bit more is just, again, releasing so much new things. You guys have so much in there, working to potentially get stuff going to support this live, and support this, via rock radio. It's with how much you guys have in the vault, there's a potential to really, find something there that's going to hit. I mean, it's kind of like, think about social media in a way where there's so many different platforms, so many different types of content you can make. If you're constantly putting stuff out there, eventually something's going to hit. So if you guys have so much, in the back, like kind of in the back end that you guys are able to release, songs, another album, the cover album you guys were talking about, just add so much more of the potential all of a sudden, when it comes to stuff that you haven't released in the last 4 years and all of a sudden now you're releasing all this stuff here, you never know exactly. Something might just hit. You might have recorded something 2 years ago that over time, you might have been a little bit ahead of the curve, but right now you're going to be right on the cusp of releasing something that all of a sudden is going to just blow up in terms of rock radio. All of a sudden, Octane might be like, holy crap, this song is freaking awesome. We got to add this to our rotation. And then everyone's listening to Saliva like crazy.
Yeah. That sounds nice, So yeah, we're definitely we're game for all of it, man. But you have to take baby steps to kind of get there, and you have to, you're kind of creating that awareness that there's a new single out, there's new music out, and then see where it goes. It only takes one song.
It only takes one song. It only takes one. It can even be one just ridiculous song that gets released, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, this is just out of nowhere. Holy crap, this is awesome. And next thing you know, all of a sudden you guys are going out on tour once again. And, people are just showing up in droves because they love that song. But all of a sudden you're going to get all the old fans that come out, like we were talking about right before we started recording. Like, we want to hear, those WWE chants. We want to hear Walk Alone and just be like, go crazy and act like, we're Batista walking out there. And all of a sudden you're going to see someone that potentially get power bombed into all glory. And they're going to be happy as all hell about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That actually might be me, though. I might be the one getting power bombed.
Hey, it could be worse, So that sounds like a fun party, actually.
Oh, it will be, because I know you guys have announced. I believe it was the Blue Ridge Rock Fest that you're going to be playing there in 2022, correct?
Yeah.
And Josey's, and I think I said that Josey Scott was actually going to be performing with you guys on that one. Is that correct as well?
Yep.
Okay, how did that come back to like into fruition? Because I know I've been looking at some things for the band that potentially, like stuff with this with Josey was in the works for a while. But how did this all come to fruition?
Last year they were trying to figure out if they were going to do a 20th something for 20th anniversary, and I was all for it and thinking that they should, and they just didn't really iron it out. They didn't get all the stuff intact, and then I know that like Josey went through like the loss of his son and stuff like that, which was very devastating, for any father to lose a kid, man. And I think it just didn't make sense. It didn't line up. And the promoter for Blue Ridge had reached out about us doing something because Saliva was already booked on the show. And then he'd reached out to me and just said, "Hey man, it'd be cool to maybe see if, Josey wants to come do a few songs with the band." And I was like, well, let's see what happens. And then we, reached out and he was like, man, I'd love to, for the fans and stuff. I think it would be great. So it's turned into, now people are like, they don't know what's going to happen. They'll be like, oh, Bobby got kicked out of the band or whatever. No, it's none of that stuff. It's, I think it's just going to be very exciting, man. I'm going to come out and rock a little bit. I think Josey's going to rock a little bit, with the band and see what happens. It's kind of cool because you have like Killswitch Engage is doing that thing, their tour with like 2 singers, and there's other bands that do that kind of stuff. And I don't know what'll come of it, but I think that night's going to be special. It's going to be cool. It'll be good to see Josey back on stage, performing a few songs with the band. I think it's all positive. Nothing but positive will come out of it.
Oh, I would have to completely agree with you. And using the comparison of Killswitch Engage, kind of what they did on their tour with August Burns Red and Light the Torch, that makes a lot of sense of potentially what people can expect, because I got to see that tour as well. And when Killswitch would go on, I mean, for the most part in time, like, it was him and Jesse Leach. It was a lot of their stuff. But then all of a sudden, for like the last 3 songs, it was you had Howard Jones come out and perform one with the band just by himself. Then you had him and Jesse Leach together performing. And then they did the Signal Fire, which is a track that they created that both of them are on there. So they both have equal parts to it. And seeing that was honestly pretty freaking cool, because you get to experience both, what Killswitch was with Howard, what Killswitch is with Jesse, and then both together. So I can see that easily happening with you and Josey as well, where all of a sudden just bringing it all together and just really bringing the positivity forward there, because you're bringing Josey back for a couple songs, or however many songs it is. I mean, that'll remain to be seen until it actually happens, how many he plays. If it's all with you, some with you, who knows what it might be. But being able to play some of those songs, it's the fans are going to really get into, because they get to see that again for some that haven't seen it, for 10 plus years. And then there's other new fans that get to see it and get to experience exactly what a lot of those Killswitch fans experience with that, Light the Torch, Killswitch Engage, and Howard Jones playing with the band once again.
Yeah. I think for this, like you said, Josey hasn't played on stage in over 10 years. So giving him that respect, with the fans, to do those songs too, I mean, is not a bad thing at all. He gets to have that connection with them, and it's been a minute, and I think the fans will enjoy it, either way. And who knows what'll come of this? It could be something that we may do more of them next year. We don't know, but as of now, I know we're just focusing on that one. We got our tour, a lot of tour dates about to release in June and July, and I'm gonna have a baby with my wife, this year too, and we're gonna do what we do: release a record in fall and just keep the Saliva train going. And he'll come do that show, and I think it'll be special.
Oh, it absolutely will be. And also, congratulations on becoming a father later this year as well.
Yeah, I already have a son and a daughter that are, my son's 14, my daughter's 10.
Becoming a father once again. Let me rephrase that.
Right. So. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? It happens, man. I mean, yeah. It's the miracle of life. What can we say? And even on top of that too, with Josey coming back for that one show, because I was at Blue Ridge last year, so when it comes to just the fan experience, like being in the crowd for that, the fans were absolutely incredible last year with the way the bands performed, the energy that was going back and forth between the bands and the fans. So especially with Josey coming back for that, and then you guys working with a new album coming out later in the year, just everything seems to be fully culminating to a point where, especially for the release of this record and having that on top of that as well with the Blue Ridge show, I mean, there's going to be a lot more attention on Saliva from so many different people where I feel like, even with all the stuff you still have yet to release, like this is honestly kind of might be the perfect way to go about it in the end as well. Just, all the stuff you guys recorded, all of a sudden, Revelation Man is out now and more is going to be coming through there to the point where when this releases, this could very well be the biggest Saliva release of all time based off of how everything is being built up to it.
Yeah, and we didn't necessarily plan it that way. I mean, it's just, it's funny how the universe works. Things can just line up at the right time, and I think you kind of have to let it play out, and just, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Oh, absolutely, and it feels like it kind of is meant to be at this point. So just let the universe do its job, and let's just keep on rolling then.
Right. That's it.
That's it. And when it comes to Revelation Man, I do want to jump into this one as well, because I always like to especially if there's a brand new single, I want to listen, I want to dive deep into it. And after listening to this one, I was taking a look at the message that was put forward in the song and just kind of getting a sense of how the instrumentals were going to flow through it. And I'm not going to lie, this one flows perfectly from the story that was being told, especially as I took a look at the press release and what you had said about the song. I'm just like, okay, just how everything is flowing together. This sounds like it's a Saliva song, but it sounds like it's flowing perfectly from one end to the other in the whole entire story. So for a first single to come out for, first time in 4 years, and for what's the best way to put it? Lead into a new album. I think you guys picked the right one.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, man. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of really good songs on this record we're stoked about. But Revelation Man in particular, when we had 3 songs narrowed down that we wanted to just we were like, let's do a release for the fans and do a video. So we have a video coming out April 22nd for it. It'll drop. And then we just said, let's pick one out of the 3 that we narrowed down. And that was the one that everyone liked. And we had, gotten, I'd sent the song to maybe 10 people that I knew, radio people, personal friends. And I was like, hey, out of these 2 songs, what do you like better? And majority was that song. So we were like, all right, we must go. Well, let's just go with this one, And, sometimes outside perspectives can really help because, they're the ones who you're trying to connect with. You're trying to connect with people. So we don't always know the right answer to what song to pick. But in particular, Revelation Man is just about a guy who has to hit rock bottom and basically go to hell and fight his way out to overcome, his battles and the things that he's struggling with. Meaning, for me, it was, addictions like, heavy drinking and drug use and things like that. And just overcoming that. And in particular was just drinking. I just would drink a lot, and I loved Crown Royal so much that it starts to really consume your life and in a negative way. And I just didn't want to deal with that shit anymore. And I just decided I was going to quit cold turkey and, for me, for my kids, for my family. And it's the best decision I ever made.
And when it comes down to just the meaning of that song as well, I mean, especially coming from a personal standpoint from yourself, it also can really relate to many other people that are going through stuff as well. Even myself, I looked at this as something where, I hit rock bottom at a point in 2017 where I just hated life. I'm like, is life even worth living anymore? Just based off of how things had gone. And right. Just kind of hitting that rock bottom point and just kind of having to build myself back up from there, find positivity once again and go from there. And now it's 5 years later, and here I am talking to you about this stuff, and this is kind of what came out of it. So kind of listening to it is able to put me in a position where I was able to relate back to something that I had really taken, a lot from and had to go through a lot and really understand it even more so through the way that the song was sung, through the way the instrumental were composed, everything around there just really speaks to why this song, you know, especially for you showing it to different friends, it's like, okay, which one do you like better? Why this one was the resounding, like, okay, this is going to be the one. And it's because of the way it connects with that emotion.
Yeah. And that's what's great about music and, you know, lyrics, people relating. And that's what it's about for me is, you know, using that song and that lyrical, you know, message to connect with somebody who may feel the same thing or have felt the same thing, like you said yourself, you know, 5 years ago, you know, going through some stuff. And, you know, the thing is depression is fucking real. And go ahead and add booze and add all the other things to that. And then you do, you know, you hit a breaking point, you know, and that's when people do think about not wanting to live and stuff. And I think that the most important thing is just knowing yourself and just finding happiness before anything. You know, if you can be happy, you can figure all the other shit out, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Might be the best way to describe it as well, because what I went through was that exact same thing. It was just trying to find that happiness, and it all started back up, finding that happiness was going to a Rise Against concert and just enjoying my favorite band once again and not thinking about anything else for an hour and a half. Like, doing stuff like that just really was able to bring it out. And even when you're in the deepest and darkest points, when you hit that rock bottom, no matter what situation you're going through, if you're able to find some sort of happiness in your life, it's kind of like, okay, you found that there's going to be a light somewhere. Now go after that light.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's always a light, man, you know? And I know, unfortunately, some people, they never see it or never make it to that point. And then it's tragic, but you know, I always just believe that, anytime times were shit or bad, it always ended up getting better at some point.
So. No, absolutely. And it's also one thing too, where if you're going through something like that, I know it might be hard to do at times, but don't be afraid to reach out for help, because the people in your life that truly care about you, and there's many of them, trust me on that, they are going to be much, much, much happier helping you out and having you ask for help than just, you know, not being able to do anything and then hope, and then maybe, you know, maybe never seeing you again. It's something that, you know, people really do want to help you, especially the people that truly do care about you. So always reach out to someone that you know, trust. And all of a sudden, if you don't trust anyone, therapy, there's also therapy for you as well. And that's kind of like another way to go about it, where you can find someone you can talk to, you can start working through some of these things. If you hit rock bottom, whatever you're going through, whatever's bringing you that darkness, so you can help find the light in your life and then go forward with that.
And I did therapy, and I do therapy, and I love it. And I was one of those that was like, yeah, that's not going to work for me. And it does. It really does. And it's, you know, she was great at getting back to the root of who I was and who I am. Like, let's go back to 18-year-old Bobby that just loved music and did not care about drinking and didn't care about all this other stuff. And, you know, let's get back to that guy. And it really helps, man. And a lot of people, they deal with things their own way. And some people are afraid to stop drinking or stop doing whatever, because they don't know how they'll be able to function or how they'll be able to like live daily life. And I went through that. Trust me, man. I was, you know, I drank every single show with Saliva. I've been with the band 10 years. And I did. There was not a show that I didn't drink, you know, at. And then you end up trying to figure out, like, when you're sober, like, how the fuck do I do this now? Like, it's almost like relearning, you know, how to perform and how to do certain things. But still the best decision, man. Once you get past all that stuff, like, it's you realize you know, you just don't look back, man. You just keep moving forward.
Yeah, once you're able to see that light, it is something that's just incredible, and just to really drive forward towards that and really be able to just get back to the core of who you are. Like you said, like your therapist, you know, let's go back to 18-year-old Bobby, and you're just getting back to a point where what's in your heart and what you care about is just what you're passionate about, what you really want to go for in life, and you're not worried about something else that's going on that's going to detract from that.
Because that's really who you are. When you're like fresh out of high school, and like just what you're thinking and how you're, you know, your whole outlook. I mean, that's really it. I mean, you stepping stones, and you learn a whole lot of shit through adulthood life, like real life problems and stuff. But it's all about, it's in order to kick the, the things that you need to remove from your life to make your life better. It's all about going back to the center of the earth, man.
Go back to the center of the earth, go back to the center of you, and even just kind of jump into what was that?
It's just getting a little too dark here. I'm not trying to like depress people, but
oh, don't worry. I like stuff like this comes up in the podcast that I do all the time, and I absolutely love it because it sheds more light on the fact that, the artists that we listen to, the music that we love, the artists that we love that make this kind of music, they're the ones that are going through some of these issues that we're going through as well. And we're not alone in this. It helps people understand that we're not alone in all of this. And it gives so much more emotional stock to the music that you're creating as well, because you're talking about a lot of these things that are coming through. Even I'm going to use just Revelation Man with the intro, because you have that deeper, like, melodic bass line. It sets up this deeper overall sound of the song, but then the guitar comes over the top, play some higher notes, give more of this reflective feel. And I looked at it as it provides the heaviness and weight of the meaning of the song from that bass line, but the guitar comes in and transfers that weight from like just like a physical heaviness to an emotional heaviness. So you're really starting to take this and really put this into a different perspective just off of the first 10 seconds of the song.
Yeah, definitely. It does have a very cool vibe. It sets the tone in the intro. And vocally, it was definitely a different approach. So,
yeah, and honestly, I mean, it came through perfectly, especially with the way the chorus comes through. And speaking of your vocals well in the chorus, because there's like a higher, rougher feel to them, something like opened up inside our mind emotionally, the way I looked at it, that there is a change that needs to be made, but that the problem of where that, where it's causing all that pain and potentially causing that rock bottom, that problem is recognized. But then like you have all of a sudden, like the next vocal line, it's split with more of this rapping, maybe like new metal part has a rougher and faster flow to it. And it gives a lot more life and adds to the revelation, the motivation to break from that keeps you down, like from what keeps you down in life. However, it's something that also, like, when I listen, I'm like, this sounds perfectly like a Saliva song. So it has the core of Saliva in there, and the storytelling in there through and through is just fantastic every step of the way through it. So had to throw that a little bit in there as well, because, if I'm talking to you about the vocals and the chorus, come on, I got to bring that up.
Right. Yeah. Man, hey, I'm just glad you dig the song. So,
hey, when I said I was going to go deep into it, I'm like, I got to look at my notes for this stuff because there's like 3 pages. So I'm like, okay, I got to scroll through it.
You know it more than I do.
Hey, I just like to do this stuff because then I get to know these songs, get to get deeper in these songs, and get to have this different connection, and heck, even learn something about myself that I might not have learned before. I mean, I got to reflect on that time once again, and even got to see it in a little bit of a different light than some of the other songs that I've, done this exact same thing to, that have made me feel that way. It's bringing a lot of different perspectives in there, a lot of different revelations in there, and it's just like, whoa, and I'm doing this through music? Yeah!
That's what makes, it special to connect with someone. The fact that you're getting something out of it and you're feeling something, and you're like, yeah, I dig this. I vibe with this. So.
Oh, absolutely. And I know we do not have much more time left to go. So last thing is outside of, the Blue Ridge stuff that's going on later this year, what else can we expect from the band in 2022? I know we got the new album coming out. Is there anything else you can, kind of tease for us, just so that, especially on my end, I can get excited to potentially, maybe get Batista powerbombed in a pit at a live show? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to tour a bunch. We're doing, we've got the rest of the year is filling up, and new record will be out. We do have we're going to drop the Revelation Man video April 22nd, and then we're going to follow that up in May with a new single, and we're going to go from there and just keep grinding, keep doing what we're doing. And we're just very appreciative of the fans that have stuck with the band, old fans, new fans, people that support rock and roll in general, that are out going and buying concert tickets to many shows. And, we're just extremely grateful that we can play rock and roll for people who care. And it's good, man. It's good time to be alive. And we can't wait to get out on the road. So.
Perfect way to look at it. Good time to be alive. Even after everything we went through in the past 2 years, hey, it's a good time to be alive. Let's just roll with it. Let's have a good time.
That's it.
Absolutely. All right, Bobby. Now, I usually close these podcasts out with three things. First things first. I know, like you said, you guys got a new album coming out sometime this year. You got a new video coming out on April 22nd for Revelation, man. You're going to have tour dates coming out at some point soon. So for everyone that's not following along with Saliva, here's what you're going to do. You're going to look at the description of the podcast, say find Saliva online. Links and labels for literally everything are going to be there. Their social media, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, where you can stream, buy, download their music, buy some merch, all that kind of stuff, and where you can keep in contact with them. So when those tour dates get released, you're able to do that. It's going to be down in the description of the podcast, links, labels, everything. One click, one stop shop. So if you're not following Saliva already, well, I'm making it as easy as possible for you. Come on. Convenience right here. I'm like a convenience store for a podcast. What the heck's going on here?
Hey man, you're doing great.
And now, second thing is, I always like to tend to make a certain promise if I enjoy having guests on the podcast. And Bobby, this absolutely, applies to you. So my promise to you is this. It's not an if. If implies, possibly not happening. No. Screw that. I say when. When implies, yeah, I want this to happen. I'll make this happen. Date and time, though, TBD. My promise to you is when I get to see you perform live for the first time, because I've yet to see Saliva perform live. So when I see you perform live for the first time and hopefully take the Batista powerbomb in the pit, my promise, I normally make a promise of first rounds on me, but because I know you don't drink, we'll figure out something else around there. Maybe, get a pizza or something. Like bring a pizza like literally to the show and be like, hey guys.
Sounds good to me, man. Hey, we love pizza. So
who doesn't like pizza? I mean,
right.
It's pizza.
And usually after the show, that's about the only thing open. That or Taco Bell. So
literally might have to get a pizza like ordered to the venue. All of a sudden it's like, okay, you guys are done with the set. Okay. Or grab the pizza and I walk around to the back end like, hey guys, I got it.
That's it.
Perfect. All right, Bobby. And as we bring this podcast close, I do not want to end this podcast by saying goodbye for a number of reasons. One, I made that promise and I always like to keep my promises and I do not want to go back on my word. So I'm going to have to, bring a pizza and go, hey, it's pizza time. And hopefully I'm not 4 minutes late like Spider-Man was in Spider-Man 2. That would be bad. Second thing is, I would love to potentially have you back on the podcast once again, later on, maybe, when the record's are released, maybe a little bit later on after that. I'd love to do this again.
Anytime, man. You were great to chat with. And so, yeah, anytime, dude. I would do it.
Awesome. So I cannot end this podcast by saying goodbye. So I have to end it by saying, see you later.
See you later, buddy.
Well, folks, that was my interview with Bobby from the band Saliva. Once again, Revelation, man, is out now. Their first single in 4 years for you to check out. Please do so. It is one hell of a song. It takes you on one heck of a journey. If you've ever been in a dark place, you ever hit rock bottom, this is definitely a song for you to really take some stock and get to listen to. It's a good one. And as of April 22nd, 2022, the music video will be out for it, so you get to actually watch the video as well. Saliva will have tour dates coming up in 2022. They will have a new album coming out in 2022, and they're playing at Blue Ridge Rock Fest, and Josey Scott will be returning in some capacity to perform some songs with the band. How many that is, and what capacity? Could it be like Killswitch Engage with Howard Jones? Who exactly knows, but that remains to be seen. You're not going to want to miss out on that. So when it comes to finding out about all this stuff and keeping in contact with Saliva, go to the links description of the podcast. It'll say find Saliva online, links, labels, literally everything for socials, YouTube, stream music, download music, buy the music, streaming services, website, merch. You can, buy some merch. Also where you can check out their concerts. Everything's going to be there for you. One click, one stop shop. You're not going to want to miss out on it. I mean, I got it all taken care of for you. Also, make sure you're subscribed and following the Chord Progression Podcast on social media and, where you're getting your podcast. So you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. Those are our social media platforms. You can also follow us on the Tik Tok. And when it comes to TikTok, we post all these different little snippets from the podcast as well. So you can show your friends and be like, yeah, this is kind of funny. Like, the fact that we're helping when we were Hungry Fest. Yeah, you're not going to miss out on that. Also, when it comes to YouTube, if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, thank you. That's where you get to watch all the podcasts. If you're not, subscribe to that as well. If you prefer to, listen to the podcast, just audio version, we have Spotify Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Amazon. Link strips of podcasts as well. If you're subscribed to those, I want to thank you for that as well. Also, thank you, Custom Views and Phoenix Fitness. The links in their labels are in, links and promo codes are in the description of the podcast for you as well. And so when the Saliva goes back on a tour in 2022, if you guys see me in the pit, I mean, you guys know me in the pit, especially if you're in the upper Midwest area, Chicago, Madison, Milwaukee, Green Bay, anywhere around there. If you see the Brewers hat guy in the pit, that's going to be me. And if one of you guys listen to this, and if you're like a bigger dude that can potentially, power bomb me onto the floor, like a Batista bomb style thing, where I'm not going to get, seriously injured. Yeah, Let's do it, because how cool would that be? Especially they're playing I Walk Alone and all of a sudden someone Batista bombs me in the pit. That'd be freaking awesome. So let's make that happen. So yeah. Get to live out my lifelong WWE dream of it, like when I was like 10 or 11 years old. Cool. And then that's going to be free to guys if you're watching this to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one of these episodes with a big, healthy, and hearty see ya! Yeah!